Today's game is brought to us by Optiroc, also known as David Linden crayons. Mega Boys does what Nintendo didn't. Super Famicom Wars. War has never been this much fun. Wait, that was the tagline for a different game. Anyway, this is Super Famicom Wars. You might remember this as Super Advance Wars. But now, we're playing the original version. Ooh. Well, let's start with two-player classic map. Now, I might be out of line here, but it seems like there's something missing here. It seems like there's no campaign. There's no campaign, there's no structure. There's no voice telling me how to play the game. How am I supposed to play a game if there's no structure to play the game? Like, you go into classic maps and you can choose whatever map you want. Can you? So, certainly we can change some settings, but can we change the map? I see. So at the very least you can change the map. However, I always felt like with Advance Wars, it felt a little bit disconnected between like the actual campaign, which is filled with bright, colorful characters, you know, all killing each other and more, and then you go to the war room, which was just a bunch of like disconnected maps over and over, and like it was kind of fun, it was challenging, and the point was to get a high score. But for me as a kid, it's like I just wanted to play the narrative. I just wanted to see the animated sprite heads talking at each other. But then looking at the war room, it's like it's just war for war's sake, which, well, it's almost a little bit too backwards, you know, right? At the very least, it's like you should have war for the sake of seeing more cutscenes. But war just for war, it's like, that's even more pointless than real war. Anyway, it looks like we've got a rich variety of maps to play, but no context, no structure. Turtle Atoll, though, I do definitely remember that name. I think it's supposed to look like a turtle, I've never thought that. But I just thought it was always kind of a silly name, Turtle Atoll. And then Squash Island. That's not like from the original Advance Wars or anything. That's just me saying a name because I can't think of any more commentary here. Cube Keys. Actually, this kind of vaguely reminds me of one of the Sturm maps, but the Sturm map where you have to like destroy the. This is of course not Advance Wars. This is like either Advance Wars 2, maybe DS. But you had to like go through and destroy the pipeline and defeat Sturm. That was kind of nonsense. I was not a fan. Good old Mirror Island, even though it's not actually a mirror image. Maybe up down. No, it's very misleading. Oh yeah, that was another thing about war rooms. Like, they were always like inarguably fair. Ooh. If you look at the bottom, you can see a slight bit of outcropping of land, but no, that's not for us. Okay, well, let's take a look at the new maps. Okay. Oh, jeez. These are all very interesting. I mean, they're bigger, but they're kind of fundamentally the same. Although I guess if you were cynical, you would say that about Advance Wars. You say it's like, well, each one is pretty much just the same thing. And that is and isn't true, but some of the games have Javier and his amazingly exuberant theme. Like, I swear to God, that Javier theme, it builds up on you and just becomes crazy crescendo. And then you've got Hachi with his good old swing me. Ooh. I mean, in Advance Wars you could like choose teams, so this is like nothing new, but like this whole screen just seems so intense. It's like these ally relations. This is like one of those like triangle relationship charts they occasionally make for Medium, where it's like, okay, can you keep track of all the relationships? And it's like, this one hates this one, but they love this one, but they hate this one, but they're related to this one, but then they want to kill this one, but actually they've been killed by this one, and so they hold a grudge. Oh, did I not? Okay. And good old Rocket K. Oh man, these are... I mean, I don't think they're actually any bigger than the Game Boy Advance maps, but they just seem so sprawling to me, especially because they take up the entire screen. Yeah, sure, the Game Boy would never give you like an overhead view of the entire map like that, probably because the Game Boy actually had less pixels than the Super Nintendo. I think that's only half true. I think one of the dimensions was bigger and one of the dimensions was smaller, but like the one that was bigger wasn't that much bigger, and the one that was smaller was... Hey, wait a minute, is that me, or am I just imagining things? Or does that look like Mario? I'm probably just imagining things. But anyway, the Game Boy Advance, I think one dimension was bigger, one dimension was smaller, but yeah, again, the one that was smaller was noticeably smaller, the one that was bigger was only a little bigger. Okay, they do give us... average general with questionable grasp of the battlefield. Jeez, don't be so down on Olaf. I wonder if they actually have special powers here. Oh, you scroll through them by pressing A, which, I mean, okay, fair enough. I don't even have to say anything. The jokes make themselves. Hey, it's Nell. And she's the highest level. Although, of course, you got the Microsoft shilling in here, too. Although it's kind of interesting. The nations are, like, completely abstracted. Like, it's not even like the CEOs are attached to particular nations. They're just freely associated. Okay, well... Okay, welcome back. So these are the settings I decided on. I decided to make myself the most powerful guy, and I decided to make the enemy the weakest guy. I'm not sure this will have any difference, but we'll find out. I also set level up to on, because maybe that means our units will level up as we defeat the other guys, which sounds very promising, because I have always wished Advance Wars was a little bit more like a strategy RPG where you could level up your units as you become good. The thing I don't really like about Advance Wars in its base form is everything feels a little bit too fair. And so, like, if you have the exact same units, and you're fighting the same guy and they have the exact same units, and it's on an exactly symmetrical map like this, then it just naturally leads itself to stalemate. And that's not really any fun. But I always kind of felt like Advance Wars needed like some sort of degree of asymmetry. Now, you may say the CO powers offer such a degree of asymmetry, but in a way, they also kind of don't. Because, like, yes, the CEO powers kind of change things a little, but they don't really change things up. They just kind of... like, they've changed things a little, but they don't tip things enough to make things not end in an inevitable stalemate. Also, rather than just... Oh, that's kind of cool. With the enemy, you can actually see them selecting their unit. You can build on your HQ? Oh my god, already the CPU is outsmarting me? This does not bode well. But maybe I can make up for this with my superior human-based intellect. Or I can compensate by making bigger and bigger tanks. Yeah, it's kind of interesting actually. Advance Wars did not have the heavy tank. They just went up to medium tanks. Which, I mean, medium tanks are fine, but it always did seem kinda weird that, like, you just had, like, regular tanks and medium tanks. And I was like, hey, where are the heavy tanks? And then they jumped to mega tanks. Or were there heavy tanks? Oh, looks like the enemy's going to outsmart me. But not if I have anything to say about it. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that all you have to do is mildly shape the attrition to be in your favor, and then you can beat them. That was the lamest animated scene I have seen in quite some time. Oh, it doesn't even show the numbers over the guys. Wow. This, we are not terribly refined in graphics here, but that's okay. They don't even animate the capture. It's like, how am I supposed to fully appreciate me capture? Are they capturing? Am I capturing? Okay, they're capturing. How am I supposed to fully appreciate the capturing if I don't see a little guy jumping on a city? This is absurd. Although I do like how I have, like, unambiguously stacked the deck so far in my favor. In fact, I could probably just make another medium tank and I think I would be invincible. That, of course, I won't do such a thing because I am a complete, fair, and honest person. Who am I kidding? Oh, that's dirty. I'm beginning to think the enemy is actually more of a tactical genius than I am. But unfortunately for you, pal, you left your artillery not actually that exposed. That's a trap, huh? Well, I have another way of pulling a trap. Ooh, pleasingly brutal. Well, at least they still explode into a pleasing dust of clouds. Okay, cool. You can also still join. And let the flood onslaught of artillery or infantry begin. you know, that battle was kind of disappointingly fair. Like, we faced off against each other, and like, I thought my guy was supposed to be super Something tells me artillery don't just have one range. You know, at first I thought I was stacking the deck in my favor, but now I think I was just giving the computer an appropriate handicap. Oh my god. This is surprisingly difficult. That being said, if I wipe out his medium tank... Oh, that's right, because my medium tank is almost wiped out. This is a tough game. Complete obliteration. But yeah, it is kind of interesting to see like this kind of stripped down Advance Wars with like no CO powers, no fancy graphics or whatever, just straight up battling. Huh. So it just remembers who won each battle. That's... How come I can't be out of this? Am I committed to this? If I press stop... Oh my god. You think me and that other guy are locked in this sort of life or death struggle? And so we're just gonna go on this giant campaign fighting against each other? Oh my gosh. That would be too much. That would just be far, far too much. Okay, so I've been keeping on with my war of attrition, trying to defeat the enemy, and I came to a startling conclusion. Mechs, or mechanized infantry, still have 2 move. However, they don't have 2 move over mountains. And so, unfortunately, that renders an entire echelon of Advance War strategy just completely out the window. So pretty much at this point, I'm just going to rely on the superiority of my units to slowly break the stalemate. I'm trying to think of where this game can kind of come into its element, and I mean, okay, you're playing like a bunch of these contextualist battles against the opponent with like no real animations to speak of. It would probably be a little annoying. However, if you were to play against your friend, then it's basically like playing some sort of board game, but like with a bit more complexity. And again, like where you two, you don't entirely understand the rules of combat. Like it's not always clear who's going to win in a battle. And in fact, this game, it doesn't even show you previews ahead of time, so you really don't know who's gonna win. I mean, you can kind of get a sense, like a medium tank against a regular tank. Usually the medium tank's gonna win, but I feel like Advance Wars, even in the Game Boy Advance games, has always had that element of like kind of luck in affecting how battles go. And so this adds that extra bit of unpredictability. Well, I mean, it's that extra degree of unpredictability that like, yes, you can have it in a board game, but if you do, you're gonna pay for it by making the players like roll the dice over and over and over and over again. But yeah, I can imagine like 2 kids locked in some sort of endless struggle, playing Advance Wars against each other every day for a summer, and then they play through like literally all the maps, and then they play through some more maps. And then by the end of the summer, they stop being friends because they spent the entire summer plotting against each other. Well, actually, it seems more appropriate to end it in that particular brand of tragedy where one of them has to move because their parents got a job somewhere else, and so then they never saw each other. They spend one intense summer together, and then they never saw each other. And then, of course, they meet 10 years later through Advance Wars Online or some nonsense. Well, that was neither elegant nor efficient, but once again, stacking the odds in your favor leads to victory. I will say, Advance Wars could have done with a few more, like, interesting little animated sequences like this. And in a strange way, even though that took like half an hour, it almost makes it feel worth it. Maybe not. But anyway, that was Advance Wars. What other stats do we have? Yeah, mere 21 days. That's a lot of units. Oh my god. So this is even worse than the war room. So like, you're not even fighting against a predefined enemy. It's just like, you just have to battle. You just battle. You have to keep track of your own records is basically the thing. And you have to make your own difficulty. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of starting to wonder why they even kept making Advance Wars if they weren't even going to like kind of tailor the experience. It seems like they just made a tactical game just for tactics' sake. They didn't even do the animations that made Advance Wars such a hallmark. They just kind of made a war sim just to make a war sim. Well, I mean, certainly this does kind of strip Advance Wars down to its barest of essentials, but in a certain sense, oh no. Although I do find it strange that we immediately go back into the exact same thing. Well, it's strange. Like, it remembered what COs we were using, what map we were doing, all of that stuff. I'm just going back to the main menu here. Oh, and now we get to see what you see if Blue Moon wins. Even though they didn't really win, they just kind of didn't lose the best. Well, that was Advance Wars. Strangely enough, it was both exactly what I expected, in that, like, the core mechanics are certainly there, but it was not what I expected at all. Like, I expected a campaign, I expected these people to be pontificating as they as they destroyed each other, but no, it's all absent. It's pretty much Advance Wars with, now I won't say none of the charm, because even you look in the build menu, and like, even these little sprites have some degree of charm to them. Oh, strange, there are APCs and supplies. But there's just none of that, like, kind of extra charm, like the campaigns or the COs or whatever. I mean, there are COs, but essentially they function more as difficulty meters rather than actual, like, expressions of your personality. So that's interesting. Just to see where Advance Wars has come from and where Advance Wars has gone from this game. Honestly, I really like the direction they took with Advance Wars. In this kind of game, it's like, well, it's nice, it's well thought out, and it's well done, but it's not quite like a fun game. It's more of a simulation kind of game. But like, I play games to engage in fantasy worlds, I play games to play as characters, I play games to have things destroy each other in cool ways. But I don't play games kind of like this. So it really does cost mechs too to move over mountains. That is most unfortunate. Well, we've seen what Advance Wars is all about. So on that note, this cat's got a scat.